Electricity is a major cause of fires. Here in the UK, half of all domestic fires are electrical. Unfortunately, such fires aren't just confined to the UK. It is a global problem. Thermarestor is our answer to this problem because it actively prevents fires of an electrical origin. We first began developing Thermarestor in 2012. As an electrical contracting company, we were well aware of the devastation electrical fires could cause. We wanted to make sure our customers were protected against such fires, but there was nothing on the market at that time which would ensure their safety. Everything was focused upon post-ignition measures, such as detection and suppression, and these require a fire to start before being of any use. This is the reason why we decided to develop Thermarestor, our own answer to the problem. Thermarestor is a unique and innovative pre-ignition solution. It is specifically designed to prevent electrical fires from happening. For a fire to start, 3 ingredients need to be present: a source of fuel, oxygen, and a source of ignition. In electrical fires, the source of ignition, the thing that actually starts the fire, is heat. Our idea was quite simple. If we could find a way of detecting excessive heat and tell someone about it before it got to that point of ignition, then we could actually prevent the fire from starting in the first place. Thermarestor is a simple yet highly effective way of permanently monitoring the temperature of electrical connections, components and equipment. If abnormal heat is detected, it lets someone know instantly by utilising any existing means of notification, such as a fire alarm or building management system. Thermarestor can even automatically turn the power supply off and remove the source of heat to prevent the fire. Our Thermarestor devices and products have many applications. In a typical installation, we start by protecting against fires involving the incoming electrical supply at the point where it enters the building. We do this using our single point sensors. From here, we move on to monitoring the temperature of connections within all fuse boards in the property, using a combination of our multi-point and single point sensors. This provides comprehensive protection in the event that any excessive heating of these points occurs. If abnormal heat is detected, we let someone know instantly, and we can even turn the power off. The fire has now been prevented, and what would have been an emergency becomes a maintenance issue instead. The next logical step is to ensure that none of the socket outlets in the property overheat, whether from wiring faults or simply from being overloaded. We can do this by using our Thermarestor socket. This is the world's first outlet to incorporate heat sensors, which actively monitor the temperature within the socket itself. If it gets too hot, the electrical supply is immediately switched off, making the socket safe. Our socket also incorporates a colour-changing logo on the front, which provides an instant indication that the socket has been subject to excessive heat. With the electrical infrastructure now protected, we need to consider what is plugged into it. Domestic appliances, especially white goods such as refrigerators, are increasingly being identified as a cause of fire, such as that which caused the tragic fire at Grenfell Tower in London in 2017. By installing Thermarestor protection, it is now possible to prevent these fires, and we are working with a major manufacturer in developing what will become the world's safest appliances. The potential applications for our technology are vast. Anything which uses electricity as a source of supply can be protected by Thermarestor. We have already developed a solution specifically designed to protect data centres and network installations against that risk of fire, and we've done the same for numerous diverse applications, everything from solar farms to vending machines. But don't just take our word for it. Thermarestor was developed using the engineering laboratories of one of the world's leading electrical manufacturers. and has been independently tested by Intertek. Thanks for your time. We hope we can help you protect your family, your property and your business.